Morning, this is Brian. Today is Thursday, September 18th, 2025. And I'm here on Fiesta Island here at Mission Bay Park. Just looking around to see what I could find today. I'm a little bit more, I think, on the northern side of it. Just trying to see what I could find on this very, very humid, muggy day. I'm parked just over this berm on the side of the road, trying to see what kind of plants I'll find out here and wildlife, if any. Expect this area will have a lot of disturbed plant species growing here. This will probably be a relatively short walk for me today. Whoa! Interesting. Looks like a falcon or something. There it goes. I think it might be one of those hawks. Red tail, red shoulder. Didn't get a good look at the bird. So I'm just going to explore this dune area to see if I could find any different species of plants, different than I normally see. There's right here, arroyo willow. Right here, must be an underground source of water here for this to be growing here. I got arroyo willow. Very, very curious looking yucca. This isn't a Mojave yucca, is it? Let's see. This is interesting. There's something different about this yucca. This does not have the thready leaves on it, so this is not a Mojave yucca. I'm not sure what this is. Maybe a yucca gloriosa or aloefolia, maybe. It's not a Mojave yucca. I was thinking, oh, is there a Mojave yucca here on the near the beach? That would be kind of neat to see. And they grow coastal Torrey pines all the time. So I'm heading relatively northwest right now. I'm just gonna see what kind of other species of plants I'll encounter on this short jaunt. I almost did not go out this week either. I've been struggling the last couple of weeks to get out on my normal Wednesday and get some really juicy hiking in. Been really struggling with that lately. Not gonna lie, this weather does not help. It's sticky and humid. Here we go, huh? Looks like a gull or something. One thing you'll see a lot on these disturbed areas, telegraph aster. Heteroteca grandiflora. Oh. And here's a related but not native right here. Glebionus carinaria. Not native, but very commonly found here in coastal to milder inland locations. Crown daisy. There's a lot of telegraph aster here. Typically it's listed as telegraph weed, but since it is purportedly native, I call it telegraph aster. Yes. All right, I'm gonna get a few pictures, and I'm seeing some other interesting things that need to be shown. I've got a native species ambrosia here. Here we go. Beach burr. For some reason, I'm really having trouble remembering in my head the epithet name. This is in the genus Ambrosia. For some reason, right now, I'm having a brain lapse, and I can't remember the species name. But this is beach burr. Can be pretty common on these sandy dune-like locations here. But yes, I don't come across this one a lot because I usually don't hike right by the beach or in really sandy beach locations. But I did see one a couple weeks ago here over by Solana Beach on that hike when I did San Elijo Lagoon and Annie's Canyon. My brain is not functioning today. Here we go. Oh, here we got beach sun cups. Camasoniopsis Caranthifolia still blooming. That's still growing around here. But yeah, my mind is just not working on that Ambrosia species. It's just a quick little flip through a book, through my field guide, just to remember the botanical name of it, but it is growing here. Yes, indeed. Burr. It's a type of ragweed. It's in the genus Ambrosia, and it's growing a lot around here. When I did the other side, closer to the southern part of Fiesta Island, I didn't really see this plant over there, but now I'm seeing it. We got a couple different phenotypes here of Ambrosia. Yeah, it's growing all over here now. Very low-growing perennial herbaceous plant in the sunflower family, the Asteraceae. It is all over here. All over here. Of course, we got a lot of this too. Atriplex leniformis, big salt bush, aka quail bush, growing all in here. All right, I think it's time for a few more pictures. Now what you'll notice is some of them have different phenotypes. See this one here, the leaves are a little bit larger, the leaflets are a little bit larger, more of a glaucous, kind of a grayish green color. Whereas this one's grayish, is a little less pronounced. And this one is more finely divided, leaflet-wise. It's pretty interesting. I just don't know why my mind is not serving today. I definitely want to check out more of this location. Let's see what else I can find. I was hoping to see that specific plant, the Ambrosia. That was what I was hoping to see. I just don't know why my mind is not working with regards to my ability to remember that plant's full botanical name. Of course, it'll already have been on the screen by now. And of course, we've got a lot of coast golden bush growing here too. This one's one of the two main upright varieties. This is Isocoma menziesii, variety menziesii. You can tell that by the smooth edge leaves, predominantly smooth edge, as opposed to the tooth edge leaves would be variety verninoides. Maybe both variants will be here. Maybe. So far, these are all variety menziesii. This one's been around for a while. This one's been a pretty well-established specimen. I do love my coast golden bushes, and they haven't quite hit peak yet. They will soon. Here's a plant you'll see a lot in areas near the coast, sometimes in inland foothills. And this is alkali heliotrope, Heliotropium curasavicum variety oculatum. Still has some bloom action on it. That's always a really cool looking plant to see. It's a perennial herb that kind of spreads as a ground cover. But yeah, you can tell this area does get disturbed a lot, so that's why there's a lot of coast golden bush growing here. And this all seems to be variety Menziesii right now. I'm getting a lot of little lizards running across my path. Look like a lot of baby side-blotch lizards. All right, we'll see when we crown this little rise here. What we got here? This is probably Baccharis cerathoides. Shed its leaves. Broom Baccharis tends to be drought deciduous, shedding its leaves during the dry season. But all those green stems are still photosynthesizing. Interesting. All right, let me go ahead and switch my batteries, shoot a picture or two, and we'll look at some more botany here on Fiesta Island. And considering this is a very highly disturbed area. Ooh, little baby western fence lizard. All right, so what I was saying, being that it's a very highly disturbed area, you're gonna be getting a lot of non-native plants kicking in here too. This is what we call Russian thistle, aka one of the types of tumbleweeds. During the fall, the plant breaks off at the root when it dries up and dies, usually looking like that, and blows across in the Santa Ana winds. Now, this is probably Salsola tragus, but there are a few different species of Salsola. This is probably Salsola tragus. Can't say 100%, but I believe that's the species. I think we have a few other species that might be here. Now, I was talking about that other species of beach bird, that ambrosia. Here's another species of ambrosia that I come across much more, a lot of times on the sides of trails and in canyons and woodlands. This is western ragweed right here, Ambrosia coelostachya. This one's a little bit more upright. This is going to definitely be less of a ground cover and more of an upright plant that can form extensive, very upright colonies that can get up to your head. But over here, it's probably a little more stunted, so they're kind of growing a little lower, apparently. So we do have western ragweed, so we have at least 2, possibly 3 species of ambrosia growing in this area. And there's more quail bush here. What do we got here? So we got a Swida species here. Yeah, this looks like woolly sea blight, Swida taxifolia. Yeah, this is woolly sea blight right here, Swida taxifolia. Plant that grows in quite saline conditions. And this one's quite a decent sized shrub. These things can get woody based and get a few feet tall occasionally. Usually I'll see them a little bit more low growing, but this one is a full blown shrub. So that's pretty darn interesting. It looks like we're at a fence here, so I'll just maybe do a perimeter walk or something. There's an opening in the fence, but I'm not sure if that's legit. And we do get some occasional pockets of this here too. And this is our western Jimson weed, aka Sacra datura righty. They definitely like colonizing these sandy hillocks and mounds as well. I think this might be off limits over here, so I'm just going to go up to the fence and then turn back. I'm not going to go in here. I'm not sure what this is here, but apparently Yeah, I think I'll leave that alone. Not sure what that is. This area, all I have to do is just park my car on the side, the legal side of the road, and then walk through this little opening on a mound. And we've got some olives, some younger olive thickets. There's these shrubby small trees here. This one's actually starting to develop its trunks, which is pretty neat. There's another olive. Alright. Maybe we'll follow this way and see what else there is to explore. All around fence. I guess that's the company that makes that chain link fence. Alright. So I'm going to go down this way, see where this leads. I'm kind of curious about exploring this a little bit. Alright. Go ahead and check it out for a while. Get some pictures. As I'm walking relatively north along this, a lot of little use trails that lead from this path down to the western half of Mission Bay. So I'm on the western half of Fiesta Island right now. Looks like a lot of people do biking activities. See little ramps built up into the mounds and dips. This area is mostly non-native plant growth, mostly here. Yeah, it's probably popular with the BMX people here. Maybe. Alright. Alright, catch you on the next clip. It's the end terminus of this trail. Birds only beyond this point. Okay. Okay. It's probably just a bird reserve or something. Looks like the use trail kind of goes along here a little bit. Trail here cutting in along this. Interesting. Let's go along this for a minute or two and see. So looks like there's going to be much needed plant action over here. I think I'll just go ahead and turn around here. Start heading a slightly different way. See what else I can find. I don't think this is really a use trail here. Okay, I'll just go back the way I came. All right. Just go along this little section here. I guess this may be a bird preserve or something. I don't know much about this. But then on this fence here, leading down into that little drainage, there's actually a walkway to get in there. This right here is a bird habitat. April 1st. Oh, April 1st to mid-September. I guess for the least turn bird. Huh. Well, it'll probably be opening up pretty soon. It's already going into late September, but I'm good. It looks like this portion here is open because there's actually a walkway access point to get into that little dip down there. I'm curious what's growing down there. Show you where it is too. There's a little access portal here. Right here, turn right here. You can just walk right down to Fiesta Island Road and the beach portion. Right here is a little portal. This is not fenced off. Probably just don't want cars driving in here. So let's go see what's down here in this little flat land here. So I guess down here, got some tamarisk. Not surprised to see that. It's very slippery on the way down here. Sheesh, man. Not having the best morning today. I was going to go to the mouth of south entrance of Tecolote Canyon, which I haven't visited in over 3 years. I was going to go poke around there. Trails are closed over there. A bunch of machines and equipment there. Boy, that last little bit. Oh boy. Sheesh. Yeah, so yeah, I ended up having to nix that. Bunch of crazy traffic this morning too. People driving like maniacs. A lot of road construction. Just getting out here was a challenge. I was at the point where I was gonna go head home. That's happened to me a few times. I was just really out of it. So yeah, coming down that berm, it's very slippery because we ended up getting some rain. We're tropical humidity. A few weeks ago, another Thursday adventure, I was out at Mission Trails, and it was during when it was raining, and but I didn't have any issues. It wasn't a lot of rain, a lot less than this. This is a lot. Looks like we got a lot more. This was more measurable. Yeah, some of it's very muddy here, so this soil is very muddy. So just watch out. I already ate dirt once, almost did again. It's very slippery and very muddy here. Because this area looks like this area, the water seems to pool down here. Yeah, but I was coming down that small berm. Boy, that's why I just quietly got up and just turned off the camera. Had to rinse my hand off because I had a big old cake of mud on there. Sheesh. Sometimes you just can't help it. It happens. Yeah, here's another tamarisk here. Still got some flowers on it. They call this plant sometimes salt cedar. So it kind of looks like a juniper or a cypress family plant, but it's not. It's a flowering plant. That's very muddy here. Yeah. Salt cedar. It tolerates some pretty salty conditions as well. So the genus Tamarisk, or Tamarix. I'm not sure what species these are. These ones actually shed their really tiny scale-like leaves in autumn, and they're leafless in the winter. Their leaves are really tiny in scale-like, and they turn kind of a golden yellow in late autumn. Now, there's one species that's evergreen, and that's called Athel Tamarisk, or Athel tree, and that's Tamarix aphylla. Aphylla means basically leafless in Greek. However, it does have small scale-like leaves like these other ones. However, and here's the ironic part, it's an evergreen. Tamarix aphylla stays green all year. It doesn't shed its little scale-like leaves. Time for some photos. Yeah. After it rains, don't walk on these really flat areas. It's not going to end well for you. I think I came down this one here. That's where I first came down. You'll see a little divot where my shoes slipped. Boy, that was kind of a doozy. Pretty interesting area, but whew, gotta be careful after it rains here. Starting to get some pickle weeds popping up here. Here's a non-native plant here, see all the time. Yeah, there's lots of young hatchling lizards, which is really good to see. Let's see how this is going up this. Yeah, this isn't as bad. I think a lot of people probably ride their bikes around here. There. Gosh, I keep seeing lots of baby lizards. Oh, there's a little baby side blotch lizard right there. A lot of hatchlings. I know western fence lizards a lot of times will be hatching late summer, early fall, but look at that. That's a juvenile western side blotch lizard right there. Look how tiny that is. That's precious. I love it. I haven't seen a lot. Pretty much all juveniles this morning. Every lizard I've seen this morning has been a juvenile. That is really cool. I love that. I hope the image wasn't too blurry, because it was a tiny lizard. All right. Lots of juvenile. Another one. I think it got away. I just wanted to see if I could see it. I think it already made it to a hole. Wow. Yeah. The soil going down this is not very good. there's basically where I ate it right there. Nothing hurts. It's really soft. Just got a big old thing of dirt on my arm. One of my hands got caked in it. Saw more slightly older lizard too. Alright, so I guess that's it for this little portion here. Okay. I guess I'll start heading back this way I came. And I'll keep you posted on what I find. Let's see what else we got. I think I know what this official area is. People with a bunch of dogs. I think it's a dog training site too. I think a nice chunk of this Fiesta Island is a place for training dogs. Yeah, I just saw a couple people with a whole grip of dogs. Alright, so that's from whence I came. Over that way. So I'm gonna go this way. Try to catch another portion of this area. Yeah, a bunch of dogs over there. People with a gang of dogs. The other part of Fiesta Island, the more southern part, where I was the last time I was here, is where I got a nice little hike over there. I think that was also part of the dog training area. Yeah, at least I'm getting some exercise in. Alright. I'm going to walk around on the other side of this one. If I see anything interesting moving around down there, like a side trip. Alright, we'll see what else I find. Alright, so I'm by this broombackers right here, and I notice these little berry-like things. These are galls, insect galls. Looks like they formed where the flower buds were going to start forming. Yeah, those aren't berries. This plant does not form berries as fruit. It forms little tufted seeds called achenes. Those are insect galls. Pretty interesting. It's got a bunch of them on it. Pretty interesting. Coast golden bush. Variant is this? Still looking at Menziesii. Yeah, still Menziesii. I had to make sure. Alright. Who knows what else I'm going to find? We shall see. I'm walking through a pretty decent sized stand of Acroplex lentiformis. More quail bush, aka big salt bush. Definitely loves these salty areas. And there's another little exit map. There's a little exit berm right there to get over to the beach side of Fiesta Island. We're on the western portion of it. It has a lot of quail bush here. It's everywhere on this side, which is nice. It hasn't gotten really super hot out here yet. It's warm and humid, but it's not that bad yet. Now the sun has been out for about 15 minutes. it'll probably start getting pretty warm. A lot of beach suncups growing around here too. And with some of this garland daisy still blooming. Usually this thing is peaking by March or April, but this thing is still cooking out here. Yeah, there's the beach suncups again. Pretty common to find in these dune areas. But yeah, I'm surprised to still see garland daisies blooming this late in the year. Usually they're well dried up by now. Another charming beach suncup in the Onagraceae family. Pretty neat. And of course, these non-native crown daisies, some flower heads are yellow and some are white with yellow at the base of the ray florets. And a lot of telegraph aster here too. This garland daisy is really almost like late spring instead of late summer. Actually, a few more days, it's going to be the autumnal equinox. I believe that's on Sunday or Monday, 21st or 22nd. Look at this huge telegraph aster right here. Yeah, this one's pretty big. Now, life cycle of this plant is kind of complicated. It can either be an annual, biennial, or a very short-lived perennial. I'd be willing to bet that this one's probably a short-lived perennial. Heteroteca grandiflora, there's a lot of it here. There has been some debate as to whether this plant's truly native or not. Most likely is. I treat it as a native species. That's why I did a spotlight video on it back in 2021. Plants that are native get the spotlight treatment. Plants that are not native that I usually focus on maybe for ornamental purposes, those are trees or plants of da-da-da-da-da. There's another ambrosia right here. Here, just growing right out. Here's another non-native plant. This is a sea rocket, Cacalia maritima, horned sea rocket. It's a very common, non-native, generally annual, maybe biennial if it's vigorous enough. Generally, it's classified as an annual. Okay, so I'm back at near the junction where I entered. Look at this huge coast golden bush right here. Now they can get taller than this, but this one's definitely had some staying power for quite a while. Very handsome Isocoma menziesii, variety menziesii again. This one has barely even. This one's just barely budding. Probably this one will probably be peaking well into October. So here's the beach portion right here, just across that small narrow strip of road. Some very healthy Isocoma menziesii, variety menziesii specimens here. Coast golden bush really loves this area. Like I said, you'll find this thing you'll find variants of it all the way up into the lower elevation foothills of the mountains too. Sometimes you can find them in the foothills. And coming up to a pretty nice olive too. We'll come up to that in a minute. Till then, get a couple pictures. Nice olive tree. Look at this thing. Wow. Should cut olives on it. Cool. Very nice. tree. Get some pictures. There's a beautiful tree. Wow. It's full of olives. Wow, look at this. We're almost ripening. Wow, beautiful. So you must have got pollinated pretty well. What a handsome tree. All right. Here's some lots of handsome plants here, I'll tell you. What a beautiful tree that is. Gorgeous. I don't remember if this is the way I came in or not. We're in park, so pretty close to it. Like this way. Some mule fat here too. Baccharis salicifolia, subspecies salicifolia. God, these little side blotch lizards are everywhere. Crazy. That olive tree was a pretty neat little find. Alright. Maybe I'll go head this way for a short distance, maybe, we'll see. This is where I entered right here. Already completed a bit of a loop. A little more upland over here. Let's see what's over this way. All right, catch you along the way. So I'm definitely a bit further east past my entry point. Just checking out what's going on this side a little bit. Dirt road here too. I think I'm gonna go down this a little bit. Dirt track here as well. There's Fiesta Island Road, and there's a youth camp full of beautiful Torrey pines right there. And we got some pretty tall non-native tree tobaccos here as well. These are pretty big. These have been around for a while. These are big tree tobaccos. I'm feeling this is just going to meet up. It's going to probably meet up with that narrow trail that I took. Looks like it. Yeah, that's where the olive tree is, way over there. This is pretty interesting. Look at this. What do we got here? I think we got willow baccaris here. I think this is Baccaris salicina. Pretty sure this is willow baccaris. Leaves are a little bit larger, longer, kind of in between broom baccaris and coyote brush. Longer than coyote brush, wider than the broom baccaris. Smaller than salicifolia, which is the mule fat. So I think we have Baccaris salicina here, willow or emery baccaris. It used to be Baccaris emery. Pretty sure this is what this is. I will double check, cross-reference it, but I'm pretty sure this is what this is. This one's a pretty decent sized one too. It's got very large trunks on it. It's a very handsome shrub, regardless of what it truly is. It's an absolute stunner. Beautiful branch structure. It's a very handsome shrub. I'm going to get a few pictures of this. Yeah, I had to definitely get some pictures of this plant to cross-reference it. Go head down here. This one here, I think, is still Sarathrodides here. This one. Yeah. This one looks like Baccaris Sarathrodides. Closely related to willow baccaris. Boy, lots of little lizards running around. I'm going to explore this little dip here and see what else I can find. There's some more of that baccaris here. Yeah, this has got to be Baccaris salicina. Leaves are much larger than on coyote brush. Similar looking to coyote brush, but the leaves are much larger, longer. Yeah, this appears to be a population of Baccaris salicina. It's not a plant I regularly encounter. They tend to like these lower canyon bottom. Well, it's not really a canyon, but lower dips like this. Starting to get its flower buds. I wonder if this is going to be a male or a female. I suspect this is going to be a female, but I'm not sure. It's not opened up yet. Yeah, Baccaris salicina, willow baccaris. Here at Mission Bay. And what we got here? American horseweed, right? Okay, Erigeron canadensis. I can tell this is canadensis as opposed to the non-native sumatrensis or bonariensis, with the really tiny but noticeably radiate flower heads. They have really tiny ray florets. The other ones are just discoid. All right. Still talking about baccaris. Here's mule fat, another common species of baccaris. Downright abundant in spots. Baccaris salicifolia, subspecies salicifolia. So what that tells me is that Baccaris salicina and this one salicifolia have similar roots in their epithet name, salicina, salicifolia. Salicina has to do with willows because it grows in habitats where willows sometimes are found, and the leaves may be somewhat willow-like occasionally. Salicifolia in mule fat is willow leaf because the leaves are very willow-like. more so, so it's called salicifolia, willow leaf, which is another name is called seep willow. Again, I've mentioned in other videos, it's not a true willow. It's a Baccharis. It's in the sunflower family. Baccharis is in the sunflower family, the Asteraceae. Now, out of the Baccharis species, salicifolia tends to have the largest, longest leaves. A bit longer than even Baccharis salicina, which I just pointed out in the little dip. But salicifolia has the largest leaves, and the leaves are about the size of willow leaves. And this one is a, let's see, this one's a staminate plant, so this is a male. Baccharis tends to be dioecious. Male flowers are on separate plants from female flowers and seeds. This is a male. This is a staminate plant. It has the stamens. That's why it's called staminate. Those are the staminate flower heads of Baccharis salicifolia subspecies salicifolia. One thing I don't know about our Baccharis is what other subspecies there are of, not willow Baccharis, of mule fag. Because ours is Baccharis salicifolia salicifolia, so it means there must be other subspecies of it. I'm not aware. I'll have to do a little research about that. Now, here we go. This one here looks a little more reminiscent of coyote brush, Baccharis pillaris subspecies consanguinea. The leaves are shorter. These are shorter on this one. So it looks like we got possibly 4 species of Baccharis growing in this area. This looks like a coyote brush here, Baccharis pillaris subspecies consanguinea. Shorter leaves than the willow Baccharis, to which this plant is very similar as well. But like I said, Baccharis salicina has much longer leaves, but shorter than on, of course, the mule fat, which has the largest leaves of our Baccharis in this area. So it looks like we might be looking at 4 species, possibly some hybrids in between, because they do hybridize Baccharis species. So just be aware, there could be hybridization going on too. So the genetics might not be 100% pure. If not, probably not 100% pure. So now we're getting some more ambrosia. This is western ragweed again, Ambrosia coelostachya, competing with this non-native ice plant or sea fig. This looks like probably Carpobrotus edulis, a non-native plant that takes over a lot of real estate here in coastal Southern California. And then, I haven't seen much of this, but on the southern part of Fiesta Island we do have this growing. But over here it looks like we got one nice coastal California buckwheat. It's transitioning between flowers and seeds. The brown stuff, that's the seed. That's the seed of the plant. White stuff, still a bloom. So this is the coastal variant of Eriogonum fasciculatum. This is Eriogonum fasciculatum, variety fasciculatum. This plant loves the coastal areas. Once you get more to the foothills, you're going to phase out of variety fasciculatum into the foothill buckwheat, which is variety foliolosum. But here by the coast, we got variety fasciculatum. So yeah, this second half of my day has turned out to be quite a turnaround. I mean, the first half had some interesting aspects, obviously, but now we're getting some pretty serious botany around here, and it's turning out to be quite an interesting day. So I'm glad I made it out here. Especially get to see these different types of Baccharis, which really it's really interesting because I get to see all the different types. I mean, we do have other species of Baccharis here in Southern California. Some are subshrubs that are smaller. Some are actually even herbaceous based. But our main ones here, Baccharis, this is Baccharis pillaris subspecies consanguinea, Baccharis salicina, Baccharis salicifolia subspecies salicifolia, and Baccharis cyrothroides are full-blown shrubs, and often very large shrubs. Now, other species I want to see, the desert Baccharis, Baccharis sergialoides, which I haven't seen that one yet to my knowledge. And we got Baccharis vanessae, the Encinitas Baccharis, which I don't believe I've seen either. So we do have other species of Baccharis that I'd like to encounter. That was a pretty interesting little diversion here. We're going to see where this leads. I think this is going to lead to the road. But I'm a little further east than I was when I first looped around this. What do we got here? It's another Baccharis. There's a lot of Baccharis on this side too. All right, this is broom Baccharis, the Cyrothorides. It's mostly leafless right now, but still has a lot of green tissue because it photosynthesizes without leaves on it. And this one is a staminate one. This is another male. That's why the bees are going nuts over it. Just starting to open up. They're going to open up much more into October and November. You're going to really start seeing all the Baccharis. See, Baccharis salicifolia, the mule fat, tends not to just focus on fall. You can see it blooming a nice chunk of the year, but the other ones that we have, the willow Baccharis, coyote brush, and the broom Baccharis tend to favor starting in September well into autumn. So that's cool. This is definitely a good botany lesson down here of our species of Baccharis. To a lot of people, might just look like plain weedy bushes that pop up everywhere in disturbed areas, but the way I look at it is it's a native plant that's very prolific, and it recolonizes previously disturbed areas, and that's exactly what this is. So having Coast Golden Bush here, and it looks like we have a different variant. This is variety Verninoides. So we have both taller upright variants. There are at least four variants here in Southern California. Sedoides and decumbens are typically more coastline plants and are less upright. Verninoides and Menziesii are the upright ones. So this one looks like Verninoides with more prominently tooth-edged leaves. So, okay, well, the interesting factor just keeps going up. Interesting. I need some more pictures around here. This is starting to get pretty crazy. Now we got some beach sand verbena up here too. This looks like Abronia umbellata. This one's an annual herb. So I've seen a couple species of Abronia. Some of them perennial, some of them are annuals. This one appears to be Abronia umbellata, which would be an annual herb. A little bit less fleshy than the other species. I think it's Velosa, if I remember correctly, which I saw over by Solana Beach a few weeks ago. The outside, we got umbellata over here. So again, I'm glad I didn't turn around and go home, or I would have missed out on some pretty neat, juicy botanical opportunities. So it looks like the road's just over there. Yeah, not that far from the road. Man, really finding some interesting stuff out here. Time for some photos. Alright, so we're kind of looking roughly northwest. And there's Soledad Mountain over by where La Jolla is. You can see the big, long hogback ridge that is Soledad Mountain. And then you can see the two main peaks. Over there is where the cross is. That's the eastern summit, the Easter Cross. Right there, and over there, where the block of trees, that's the actual 822-foot high point over there. So the area where the cross is not the actual high point of Soledad Mountain. It's only one of it's the eastern high bump. There's a lot of this beach San Verbena growing here too. Get some pictures of this too. It's just so cool that despite how dry it is here for several months of the year, and it's September, despite the fact that we did get some tropical rain showers yesterday, how much is still blooming out here, or that's actually starting to bloom, which is kind of fascinating. Get back on this little track here. Very interesting how this all turned out to be a pretty solid small outing today. I know I'm kind of at a low point in my real big adventurous hikes, but adventure can be wherever you look to find it, and I decided to find it here. Even common places like this. Places that are really close to really frequently visited areas. So I'm going to go ahead and head over northeast right now, or north. Yeah, this is pretty interesting. Just going to follow this for a little bit and see where this heads. That's why my hikes always seem to have really weird configurations, because I'm always exploring off in different directions. That's why some of my hiking maps look really random and weird, because I love to branch out and do more than what a lot of people normally do in hiking areas. Me, I like to branch out and check out the nooks and crannies. That's where you're going to find some of the juicy stuff, in the nooks and crannies. Now that you're not going to find juicy stuff out in the open, but branch off and check out a little bit less visited area in a generally more visited area. Sometimes you'll find some pretty juicy tidbits. And that's why no matter where I go for outdoors recreation, I have to have the camera with me. Coming up near that fence already. Yeah, we're not that far. Not that far from where I first reached that fence. I was just a little bit further west of where I am now. So I guess I might just make up a double loop out of this. I'll just head this way and see where this goes. I'll take the right fork. It's definitely warm, very muggy out, but we're right by the ocean, so it's not as bad as it's going to be inland, or it's going to be the same, probably the same dew point, but much hotter temperatures. Yeah, there's Mission Bay Park right over there. It's Mission Bay Park. Place I occasionally visit, and love to botanize the non-native stuff there too. It's a lot of fun. Being a person who just loves plants, it's kind of in my nature. All right. Let's see. There's that little spot again. Let's see where this goes. Gonna be right above the road. I'm gonna go follow this for a few minutes. Okay, we're coming up to another gate here. So yeah. Let's see. Birds only beyond the sills. This is entering that same training ground area that I entered from further along there. I don't think I'm gonna go too far. This is the area that's closed off for birds again on this side. Pretty neat. Look at how tall this woolly sea blight got. A lot of times these low-growing plants that grow along fences seem to mound up. Yeah, this is a Swided taxifolia again, woolly sea blight. Taller than me. Alright, so I'm gonna go follow this. So this looks like this is the bird preserve right here. Oh, I just saw something big run across the trail. Oh. I don't know if that was a lizard, a big lizard or not. Pretty interesting, I'll tell you that. Does this trail continue down here? Man, every 2 seconds there's a lizard running across the trail. Cool. I like that, by the way. Take this little faint use trail here. Very interesting. Ooh, we got saltgrass growing here. Disticlus spicata. Yes, it looks like the non-native Bermuda grass, but this is the native. This is native. Disticlus spicata, saltgrass. So it's a perennial species of grass that's native. It looks a little bit, at first glance, to the non-native Cynodon, which is the Bermuda grass, but this is a native. Texture is a little rougher than on Bermuda grass. Slightly more upright, even though it's definitely a ground cover. That's a native plant that grows near lakes, saline areas, the shore. Very much a native species of grass. What kind of caterpillar this is? Handsome. All right, time for a picture. I guess what I'll do is I'll walk along the beach. Let's go down by the water for a few minutes in this little wide open spot right here. Speaking of Bermuda grass, this is Bermuda grass, Cynodon. Similar looking but smaller leaves, much more stoloniferous or spreading habit, spreading by stems, and these angled seed heads. That is Bermuda grass right there. Let's see. There's Mission Bay right here. Pretty neat. Very neat. That's anything swimming around. Alright. Start heading back. See you on the next clip. There's something walking along the side there. Yeah, look at old Mission Bay. So I'm on the beach side now. I was walking along that side for a few minutes. I have a feeling the convection up the mountains is going to cause thunderstorms to explode up there. We're pretty much done here for this one. Did hear about another chance of tropical moisture. Possible chance of it coming up this way over the late weekend or early week. We'll see how that works out. Otherwise, it's going to get hot and crazy if it doesn't, I think. All right, it's over here. Okay, see you on the next clip. There I am walking along Fiesta Island Road. That little camp over here. Pretty interesting. All right. Yeah, side bush lizards everywhere today. All right. See up the way just a little bit more. Here's a non-native sea lavender. Looks like Perez's sea lavender. This is Limonium perezi, perennial subshrub, sometimes woody based with age. Not native, colonizes occasionally in this area, coastal parts of Southern California. I've seen wild sections of it when I was a kid, a little coastal canyon near, or in the South Claremont area. I remember those little suburban canyons. This is not even a named one. It's probably connected with Tecolote Canyon, but it's not officially part of it, and it's actually not a park. It was actually behind a church, and people there would let me romp around in it, didn't kick me out or anything. I remember behind one church, a huge population of it right along a fence. And those things got pretty tall. There's more of it on this side of the fence. Actually, here's some more of it right here. Limonium perezi, non-native. We have one native species, Limonium californicum, which is much smaller than this. It's kind of shady over here. Why? Pinus toriana subspecies toriana. That's why. Torrey pines. And California bush and salvia, or bush sunflower, Salvia californica. What variant of Isocoma menziesii? This is variety verninoides right here. And these are some nice looking Torrey pines. Yep, there's a bush sunflower. They get significant. If they get enough moisture, they can bloom most of the year instead of the normal just springtime. So I'm just about at the turnoff, where I'm going to be going left to get back to my car. Pretty interesting area, not gonna lie. Kind of glad I explored this a little bit more today. Pretty neat. What else? What else? So yeah, when I get to this junction, I'm going to turn left. No, I'm going to turn right. I don't know why my directions are so screwed up. I'm going to turn right, head back that way to the car. Won't be that much further down the way. just about to close a second loop. Let's close the second one. I'm parked just a little bit past that gray car right there. That'll be my swan song for the day. Yeah, you can get into these little patches of land by just taking one of these little use trails over the berm. Alright, well, nice to get a little walking in. Very easy walking, no elevation, really minimal elevation gain on this one. Okay, well, this is basically it for me. This is where I entered. Just went over this little berm right here and I was in. This is going to do it for my day. Head home, pop on the air conditioning, relax, go back to work for another week of torture. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming along with me. I'll see you on my next adventure.